Hello, and welcome to another episode of Social Workers Rise. It is your host, Catherine here. Today, we're going to be talking about depression. First off, if you don't know me, I'm an LCSW based out of Southern California. I've been practicing social work since I got my BSW in 2009. And since then, I've helped hundreds, probably thousands of people who have come to a social worker for a myriad of issues. I've worked in a bunch of different settings, including after school programs, hospitals, medical settings, hospices, even done advocacy, community organizing, and policy work. So I have been around the social work block, my friend. And I will say, given all of these experiences, it is so important that you are able to recognize depression in people, because when they come to us, a lot of times they may not be aware that they're experiencing some form of depression. And to be honest, it's not on them to have this awareness coming in. It's on you as the clinician, as the mental health professional, to be able to spot these red signs. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be talking about, one, what are some common misperceptions that you might have or we have as a culture, and what our clients might be experiencing? What are some misconceptions about depression? What are the signs and symptoms that we need to look out for? And then what are our next steps? What are their options once we kind of say, okay, you may have depression, you are showing some signs of depression. What do we do now? So let's hop into this. First, a lot of times people do not want to identify with depression because they feel like it's a sign of weakness. And this is very culturally based. And they say, nope, I don't have depression. That's for the other people, right? They feel that if they say, oh, yes, I have depression, then this now has a label on them and they're not able to be strong. They're not able to be the person that they need to be for the sake of themselves, for the sake of their family. And this diagnosis, or any mental health diagnosis really, may be a sign that, okay, I don't have my stuff together. I'm weak. I'm not strong, which is not it at all. That is a very common misperception and one of those stigmas that really holds people back from seeking out help when they are starting to have thoughts of hurting themselves, thoughts of suicide, thoughts of I'm not good enough, thoughts of why can't I just get this right? Right? They believe in themselves that they are strong, and it is true. They are strong. A lot of times we just have moments of times where life gets heavy. And when things are heavy on our shoulders, we get tired and we grow weak and weary, and that is normal. That is okay. And it is a sign of strength that they are reaching out to you and that they are even talking to you in the first place. So remind them of that. Another common misperception is that it can be snapped out of. Like just snap out of it. Just get up, do the things that you need to do. And it's hard. It's not that easy because there's so many different things that are going on as far as depression goes that it can't just be snapped out of. And when this is said to somebody experiencing signs of depressions, it's really invalidating about what they're going through. And it's kind of gaslighting them too, saying like, this isn't anything serious, just snap out of it, right? It's not communicating, hey, I see you, I understand the struggle, or help me to understand more what you're going through, right? Another misconception is that it's only a problem for people who have experienced major life traumas. While yes, you may get depression after major life traumas, but not necessarily. A lot of times we can experience depression after just during life, just doing life, right? A lot of times people, moms will experience postpartum depression. A lot of times people going to college will experience depression. Especially a lot of life transitions can really trigger these feelings of sadness, of loss, of grief, of feeling like I'm not enough, just not able to get pleasure from the things that you once enjoyed. A lot of these come from life transitions. And the last one is it's not a real medical condition. which this is false. This is a real medical condition, and there are a myriad of ways to treat depression and to alleviate the symptoms. And this is not for people who are just kind of down on their luck, who are not successful at all. There's actually been quite a few different celebrities who have come out about their depression and spoken publicly about it. This includes Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, Kristen Dunst, Michael Phelps, and so many other people who have brought to light their own struggles and have really normalized this for people, because so many people, 1 out of 6, in fact, will experience depression in their lifetime. That means approximately 8% of US adults will experience this annually. So every year, 8% of people over 18 will experience depression. It is one of the most common mental health disorders in the United States today. A lot of the people who are extra high risk are actually young adults, women, and people of the LGBTQ populations. And I'm going to go over some of the symptoms that people with depression may experience. And this is just kind of lightly covering what to look out for. All right. So, depressed mood, meaning they're feeling sad. Irritability is a huge cue. Or if they're feeling empty, there might even be a loss of pleasure or interest in activities that they once enjoyed. So, for example, if they used to enjoy getting together with family or going out with friends, but now all of a sudden they just don't feel like doing it, or when they do that, they're just not getting the enjoyment or the pleasure or the satisfaction that they once got before. And this would be happening for most days or nearly every day for at least 2 weeks. But for this to be a major depressive episode, this would be ongoing for at least 6 months. Some other symptoms would be they're having trouble concentrating. So maybe their thoughts are just so overwhelming or so ongoing that they can't concentrate on their schoolwork, they can't read, they can't maintain focus in a conversation. They may have feelings of low self-worth or guilt or hopelessness about the future. And this would come out in phrases like, there's just no point. I don't want to live like this anymore. I'm not worth it. I can't do anything right. I am always messing things up. Things like that. So those are going to give you some cues around, hey, maybe there's something more that I need to look into. Other behavior changes might be they're having trouble sleeping or a change to their sleep, right? So if they're sleeping more, if they're just more tired all the time, or if they're not able to sleep as much, maybe they were sleeping before and now they're waking up constantly, or they're having trouble falling asleep, or maybe they fall asleep, but then they wake up in the middle of the night and they can't go back to sleep. There might be changes in their appetite or their weight, whether they feel like they're eating more, emotional eating, or they feel like they're eating less, where they're just not hungry. Maybe they're feeling nauseous. They just don't feel good. There's no appetite there where there once was. So a lot of these things can also cause us to feel tired or have low energy. And a lot of times that's going to be the cue that you see is feeling tired, low energy, and often irritable with others when they weren't feeling like that before. And finally, they may be having thoughts of dying, of suicide, of killing themselves, or of hurting themselves. And this is definitely a really big red flag that you need to look out for, and always ask about if they are having thoughts of killing themselves. And it's okay to just say it point blank, flat out, like that, because you're not going to be giving them the idea. If they've thought about it, a lot of times they want somebody to talk to about it, but they just don't know if it's safe. They don't know if you can handle that, because maybe they've tried talking about it with other people, but a lot of times other people, like friends and family who aren't a mental health professional like you, they may not know what to do with that. And a lot of times people will say, oh, you don't really mean that, or stop talking like that, or you're just being dramatic. And so they brush it off. They tend to not feel seen or validated. They don't feel like it's a safe place to talk about it. So by you directly asking this question, it opens up that door. And even if they say, oh, no, I haven't thought about that. Or even if they do and say, I have thought about that. Sometimes it's just thoughts, right? But being able to just have that door open and let them know, yes, you are somebody that they can talk to about this. It is a safe place, and you can and will get them the help that they need, right? Because there are treatments, there's very effective treatments to depression, and a lot of them just kind of depend on the person, as a lot of the treatments do, right? But there's a lot of different things that you can do as a mental health professional to just help the people who are coming into you to see you. And if they're showing these signs, to really just be there for them. The first and foremost thing that you need to do is building that therapeutic alliance, meaning, can they trust you? Are you listening? Are you paying attention? Are you asking questions? Are you engaged? Are you interested in what they have to say? That goes a long way, because we're humans but first before we're clinicians. And you have to be able to show this human side of you, this empathetic side of you, and just making sure that it's a safe place for them to just be, to talk about whatever they want to talk about, or to not talk about the things they don't want to talk about, and to not force anything on them, to just make sure that you're responding to their needs and going with their pace. So therapeutic interventions can be really, really helpful for depression. And if we're talking about modalities here, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, has been shown to be very effective with depression. Interpersonal therapy and psychodynamic therapy. Also, too, if it's appropriate, medications. Sometimes people benefit from antidepressants and sometimes not. It really just depends. Really, what I like to start with is, in addition to the therapeutic alliance, I will also talk about lifestyle changes, lifestyle interventions. So, first and foremost, movement, exercise. I know people don't like to hear this, but it is true. We are humans that have been made and created to move. And just the way that we're programmed, when our brains signal these thoughts of depression and we have these emotions, this sends out signals and chemicals to our muscles, to where the emotions and the feelings literally live in our emotions. That's why they feel so heavy, why they feel so sad, why their stomach is upset, why their shoulders might be tense, because the emotions are living in our bodies. It's you can read, if you want to read more about that, there's a fabulous book called The Body Keeps Score. And that is about how the emotions and the trauma live in our body. That's more focused on trauma, but it is the same concept, right? That when we feel these emotions, they stay in our bodies, and the quickest way to process them is through movement. So encourage them to walk, to do yoga, to do boxing classes, whatever it might be that they find the least miserable. And I'll even phrase it like that too, because a lot of times when people come in with depression, they are so down and nothing sounds good to them. Nothing sounds fun. It can be really hard to find that light. So I'll say, okay, what sounds the least miserable for you to do, or for you to start with? The most realistic, that's going to be the most accessible, that's going to have the least barriers possible, in order to just integrate some movement, right? Other interventions and changes can be eating healthier, sleeping more, getting on a schedule of sleep, and getting into a sleep pattern to where maybe we shut down social media an hour before. No screens an hour before you want to go to sleep, to give the mind and the body the chance to just unwind and relax. We can talk about stress management techniques that might be helpful for them. And also, too, vital is integrating their social support finding that community, finding out who is around them that they have a good relationship with, and calling in extra recruits in order to be able to support them, whether it's just having them talk to them, having somebody who, if in the middle of the night, if that's when they feel the most sad, who can you call? Who can you reach out to? Who can you text? Who can you talk to on the phone? Right? It's really going to be that interpersonal relationship. So not just texting. Texting is a good start, but really having that human connection where you have eye contact, you can feel their energy, you can read their body language, you know that they're with you, that they're not just distracted, texting you whenever they have time while they're doing whatever else it is they're doing, right? But having that undivided attention, which is part of why therapy is so effective, because just having someone be able to listen to you and be able to hear you out and understand you and help you feel seen can be really extremely powerful, right? So your role as a social worker is a lot, and depending on what it is that you're doing and what setting you're working in, a lot of times you're going to be providing psychoeducation on depression. You may be doing crisis intervention for them. So if they do express a desire to hurt themselves or a desire to end their life, then that definitely requires crisis intervention. And please, you always consult with someone else. Even myself, I will consult with other people to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So consulting with other people, especially during crisis situations or times when there's a concern about safety, always a professional thing to do. It's not meaning that you don't know what to do or that you're not educated enough or whatever story it might be that keeps you from reaching out, but it's a sign of professional development that you can say, hey, this is a really serious situation that we have here, and I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So please do that. Always do that. Even if it's just confirmation, like, okay, I did everything that I'm supposed to do, right? And even making referrals for therapy and psychiatric care. Another way that I like to assess for depression and to give it like a number, if you will, a score, is the common tool is to use the PHQ-9, which is available online. And if you just Google that, PHQ-9 depression scale, that'll pop up. And that's really good because it's an actual form, it's a document that the person can go through either by themselves or with your help. Then it gives them a chance to reflect and say, oh, I have been feeling low energy. I have been extra irritable. I have actually had thoughts of hopelessness. And it kind of puts it all together on one page so they can see, oh, all of these things are related. And this is what's going on. It helps to give them a label so that they can identify it, because once we can identify what's happening, it makes it a lot easier to cope with. It makes it a lot easier to understand and know what's going on. And it reassures them, hey, you're not crazy. This is something completely normal. A lot of people, in fact, 8% of the population go through this, and there is help available. Because without that, a lot of times people can just feel lost and weird, and they don't know what to say. They don't know how to communicate what it is. But if they can say, okay, according to this, today you're showing signs of moderate depression or severe depression. What do you think about that? Does that surprise you at all? Right? And then it gives them a number score. And so by working with you, they'll see, okay, I started out with this number. I started out with severe depression. And then over the course of so much time, whatever time you feel is appropriate or at your agency, they can be able to see, okay, the depression is getting better. Because a lot of times we can be so caught up in what's wrong, what's not going right. I still feel hopeless sometimes. I still feel extra tired. But over time, you'll be able to see, okay, even though, yes, you do still feel these symptoms, it's less. It's less than when you came in to see me however many times ago. And this can be really encouraging for them to say, oh, wow, I didn't realize that it was working. I didn't realize that what I was doing was actually making a difference. And it inspires that hope. It gives them that motivation. It gives them that energy to keep going. And if on the other side, if they're not making progress, why not? What's going on? What is happening here that is not changing? And that's another conversation around like, is this working? Are these things realistic? Do we need a different therapist? Do we need a different modality? Do we need to explore medication? Like, what is going on? Right. So it's a tool to help give you the guidelines and to see how your work and how your client is progressing. So that is the very quick and brief overview of depression and what it is that you need to know. If you have more questions, you can always reach out to me, reach out to your clinical supervisor, to a professor, to somebody at your work, to a colleague, if you have more questions or concerns about your specific situation. If you're a clinical social worker and you want to learn more about documentation and assessments and gain more confidence in these skills, I highly recommend the course, The Clinical Essentials for the Future Therapist. This is a course that I have developed in conjunction with my colleague, and it goes through all sorts of different things, everything that you need to know from assessment to termination. It is a really massive course. It's worth the investment because we talk about everything that you need to know, from how to do a psychosocial assessment, interventions, documentation. We talk about tapping and mindfulness and the genogram. We talk about safety planning around termination, around cognitive behavioral therapy. There's so much in this course. If you're a clinical social worker new to the field and you just need more confidence, I highly recommend that you invest in this course. You can find out more links in the show notes. And if this was helpful for you, please share this episode with a friend, with a colleague. Make sure you're subscribed to the Social Workers Rise podcast, and I will see you next time.